Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome back over to the Wrestling Performance League here at Le Mans Ultimate Series here. Still over for Season 1 after what has been a pretty exciting round over at Qatar, which saw only just 3 finishers now continue over through to Monza as we start off, and it enters in through the September zone. Summer break is well and truly over through the good pre-season testings that we've had, and from their first race, expected cars through 10 are expected to field out from here at Monza during the practice session, and we're going to continue on through to the Italian country with Imola coming up next week as well. Of course, indeed, it has been a very exciting spectacle from what we have previously seen over in Qatar. As actually, we're going to expect to see some more people coming in. Josh Hughes becomes the first ever race winner here at the LMU Series, followed by Tion Barrett in second, and Georgia Williams completes through just 3 finishers through, with Danger Put and Cameron Fields the only ones that also fielded did not make it in at the end. However, just those 5 drivers, we have now doubled our attendance. In fact, almost nearly done more than that coming through today, so that will be interesting to see. Indeed, of course, with the title thing, it is the Le Mans Ultimate Series, so no worries about that. But as we said before, got some new drivers making here, going to make their LMU debut here at the RPL season thus far, and we will be very interested to see how they'll get along through here today. Practice is just coming up to very short here, but just a quick run down through what we're going to expect here. 3 minutes practice, that's going to end off very soon in just a couple minutes, followed by 20 minutes of qualifying. A bit wet here for today, and in fact 75% chance of rain during practice, but doesn't seem to be that much here during qualifying, so it might be able to see the drivers give it through the air here in the 20 minutes, and then following off that we have a 70-minute race ahead of us once again, all complete hypercars of course, so that is going to make it for all the more interesting. As we can see here through the session info, just approaching down through the 1 minute mark and coming up to a close. Right on board with Tion Barrett now. Of course, a very strong driver indeed throughout this performance here. Almost managed to nick the position off from Josh Hughes, but was just shy of it by 13 seconds. He looks to be a strong contender for this. Josh Hughes indeed outperforming him though during practice, of which he has parked. It's almost about 45 thousandths off. And Alex Norris, a very strong showing for him. Also, during pre-season back at Le Mans, when we first did this broadcast, he currently holds the fastest time during the practice sessions. The question is whether he'll be able to replicate for that 30 minutes and down to a 20-minute qualifying session. It is possible, but sometimes it's a thing we have not usually often seen before. Cameron Fields just down behind could convert his pole position last time round to a race win, and now he's trying to look to go for one better and maybe even get a podium done to his name, although 4th is the way it stands just outside of that point. Newcomer for Jordan Navarro, he's going to make his LMU debut. So we'll see how he progresses, goes across the line, and he will go up into 2nd. Very good for him. Joshua McCauley over at 6th then, which about nearly 2 seconds off from the fastest man, followed by Georgia Williams, another newcomer in George Watson, and Ian McGillor as well in 9th. 9-car field as it stands that has set their lap times, but I think we're going to be expecting a bit more during the qualifying session. As we can see now on through the timing boards, qualifying is going to begin away very, very shortly. Just a short 15-minute grace period indeed, until they all start. Qualifying is now gently beginning and underway here. I am board with Ferdinand Messenegger. He's last minute attendant. Haven't gotten in during through practice. 8 cars have started out in Navarro. The only one just currently into the pits for the time being, as they're just looking around to see it. Of course, Monza, Temple of Speed, low downforce is where we're going to see them utilize as much of their straight line speed as they possibly can. Hard for his Sky, Ferdinand goes. And we're going to just gently ride on board with him now. Good speed for 60 kilometers per hour. Indeed, Jordan Watson will be one of the first ones to go across the line. And we're riding on board from him now. And here we go. On board with Watson now, who's going to be reaching excess of 320 kilometers an hour before needing to brake extremely hard. 310 aboard the 100 meter board. Clips off for the apex, don't too much on the sausage curb. Need to get through a pretty good exit. The curbs are very small in what we have seen compared from before. So that's also a possibility as well. Hard up for free. Hold on down to the inside line as much as you possibly can. Hit on for the apex. That's good. Nearly 300 kilometers an hour before you brake hard once again. Don't touch the grass. Coming through 4 and then 3 to 5, similar to 1 and 2. Avoid the curbs. Or too much of the inside for the curbs. 200 kilometers an hour, first of the Lesmos. Down through here. Again, the short apex means that you can't use that track surface as you can, although you can use the benefit from the exit of the first Lesmo and the other one on the exit from the second. A good exit, he's just a bit too much of the grass, that will hinder his top speed a bit, which again is going to be very important. One of the most important corners throughout this entire circuit here in Ascari. Light tap on the brakes, down to just 135 kilometers an hour. And then just hold it off as low as 665 for the next one. And then accelerate as hard as you possibly can out from that complex. Bringing your car, again, another very fast straight indeed. Again, 300, and then down for the Parabolica. Try to get the inside line, and then hold on for the outside as much as you possibly can. Garner the speed, and make sure you don't let go of the throttle too much if you go a bit sideways. Going through across the line, Watson does. He'll be the first one to put it through on the board with 138.7. And a very strong lack of indeed for Ferrari. We'll see how everyone else follows through. Cameron Fields does respond. Yep, and it's a very strong lap indeed for himself. 2.6 seconds faster ahead. Josh Hughes invalidated up for his first lap, and George Williams down behind, I don't think also set his. Joshua comes across the board in the Peugeot. Up into third he goes. Alex Norris replaces Cameron Fields, and the BMW driver gets it out to 3/10. Good lap indeed from the British driver indeed. No relation to Lando, I might imagine. From the exit, Norris goes to see if he'll be able to improve it any more. Could be possible. As he's actually about 1/10 off. Just seen another yellow flags come around. I think 11 cars will be what we see here through today. I think that might be the Watson on his out lap. He's just trying to look for a clean getaway to see what he can do. Here we go, Josh Hughes is going to say his first lap time of the day. Hasn't set a lap yet. Can he do anything to break up through? Crosses the line. He's going to be the new pole sitter for the time being. And a very, very strong one, 7/10 off. I think we're seeing other people go across the line. Tion Barrett means that there will be a 10-car field out for today. Again, very, very close and good performance from him. It is pursuit up against Hughes. Back at back at Qatar means that definitely going to be one of the ones to beat. Josh Hughes, though, doing really good to keep through that momentum as much as he possibly can in his Toyota. And Alex Norris about 5/10 off. It's just the things that have to see. As I'm going to see if there'll be anyone else through to follow suit. 14 minutes left to go during qualifying. Still running on with the Ferrari, a little bit much on the gravel. If it's still valid, then that's all good. 3/10 off. It is a personal best for Ferdinand Messinger. Down for Mascari goes through to the third sector. Of course, just the parabolic, the only corner in the final sector. So be able to save it, give it them all. I want to see if he maybe had invalidated it, maybe. We'll see. I think he did. It's not counted it. George Williams sets his representative lap time through the line he goes. Pushes himself up into fourth. And Fields, Watson, Barrett on through their outlaps now. See it here with Norris. He's going to go through the Parabolica. Might have a bit of traffic up ahead, but could provide some very useful slipstream. Purple for the first sector, personal best in the second. Anything to tie for together to get pole position. 5/10 off. Didn't appear to be much though. 5/10 off from Hughes, but still pretty close. Still about 12 minutes left to go here. Ryan on with Jordan Navarro. Second of the BMWs. It's BMW 2-3 at the moment. Very, very good. Cameron Fields and Josh Hughes in the Toyotas. Meanwhile, first and fifth. There is that in line as well to consider and to think about. We'll see here what Navarro can do. Out from the Parabolica. Just the final corner he needs to do. If he keeps it down for the inside, we might be able to see maybe a bit of improvement for him. Purple in the first sector, although it's a bit yellow. 3/10 off, so it's about 1/10 overall improvement. Crosses line up in a second and displaces his manufacturer mate from Norris. And very impressive there from Jordan through to second. And that gap from Hughes and the rest of the pack is just slowly coming down. But that's still all good news to see. Cameron Fields goes across the line. Man, that's at the pole setting. All for a light. Through the line. Oh, wow, that's second place. And it's a Toyota 1-2 as it stands. A 1-2 BMW 3-4. Williams 5 and Macaulay 6. The Porsche of Major. Actually, no, it is. Now it's a Toyota 1-2 BMW 3-4. Peugeot 5-6. Josh just displaces McGillor of the Porsche out, and Cedric and Watson completes through the Ferraris at the end. I think Tion Barrett will also follow through with what Enya can do. Enya enters into the pits. Tion Barrett he's the last one to set a representative lap time here thus far. 10 minutes approximately left to go here at qualifying. And Cameron Fields, indeed, if you just look up for the gap, indeed, it is 900s as well. So definitely room there to improve. Josh Hughes is going to try and push it off a bit. I think that might be the it's not really the burst first sector that we've seen thus far today, but at least it's quicker than Cameron. For comparing down to the teammates, 5,000s off was from Josh's own personal best. Going through the second sector now, he goes. Just keeping through an eye on him to see what he can do to push it back further. 32-1. That's very good. And it's indeed a best ever from anyone else thus far today. Tion Barrett, meanwhile, fastest on the first sector. Personal best onto the second. This is going to be the one to set a representative lap time. What can he do through this challenge for the pole? And it's invalidated from the third sector. And that's quite very unfortunate. Josh Hughes, meanwhile, what can he do? Is it going to be an extension? No, it's not. He's he's not actually as fast as yet. About a 10th off. Yeah, 10th off. Indeed. Another yellow flag. I think that might be people through Eddie down to the pits. And yet, Porsche just it's not struggling, but definitely can be places in better through across the line. And he'll be able to try to go through again. Still 36.6, the best that he can possibly do. Just about nearly 2/10 off. Alex Norris, new fastest time at 7 thousandths faster than Josh Hughes. And that is absolutely incredible. The top three are separate, are all within 1/10 between each other here. And they're, well, the BMW and the two Toyotas definitely had a lot of their work cut out for them to try and get that one of the most, well, important pole positions, I reckon. But also with the Slipstream Fest also coming into play in the 70 minutes, a lot through can happen. And Tion Barrett, he finally sets a representative lap time. And speaking of that, the top three is still within a 10th, but pushes Cameron Field out from it. 1:33 seconds, now from 4th to 1st. But Barrett, incredible lap time indeed. And he's finally set a valid one onto the board. Seeing if there'll be anyone else going through. If the Porsche driver can feel any sense of optimism coming from Tion's lap time. Of course, the pace is there in the Porsche. Lock up from the Parabolica. That's going to cost them quite dearly. It is personal best all across the board. It just needs something. 35 indeed, the fastest one at a time. Protes stuff up into 6. That's pretty good. And it's 6/10 off from the Porsche of Tion, and just a lock up there onto the first turn means that you may have to go for again. Alex Norris out from the Parabolica. I think this might be invalidated. It is indeed. George Ops Williams, meanwhile, up 7th, and teammate in Makahi behind in 8th. 4/10 split off between these two Porsche drivers. Of course, Donny in the wing, very low downforce. Not much corners here through to navigate. One of the fastest tracks actually we have in the calendar. Flat out coming through the second sector, approaching down through the third, hard down through Ascari. Indeed, he will be out of the first lap up. Joshua's going to start another lap through his. So will Ferdinand. Alex Norris. Let's see what he can do. Yellow up from the first. Ferdinand is about a second off from his time, I believe, and it seems to be a bit of a struggle. Joshua, meanwhile, he's going on for a personal best. See what challenges he can pull up through ahead. That was a bit of gravel, I believe, and Joshua goes off. Able to maybe keep in control. He will return back over to the pits. 5 minutes left or so to go. Tion Barrett, meanwhile, putting a lap time for on the board. Yellow the first, but at least purple second, faster than it's any been. Is it going to be able to put this over to rest with 5 minutes left to go? That'll be pretty optimistic, especially given that the track temperatures do warm up indeed. But it could be possible. We have seen such pole positions snatched up early here at RPL before. What can Barrett do through across the line? And it's invalidated again for the third sector. And no improvements at all. Is that a bit of a worry we might see? Ferdinand, meanwhile, he is going to try to set his representative, well, another fast lap time indeed. George Watson, the only driver currently, as it stands, to only be about a second away from the nearest car ahead. 3.2 seconds off from the pole sitter. Alex Norris, meanwhile, he has to try and do something to get it through up here. How's the second looking? It's purple all across the board for the BMW driver. Out from the exit that he does, he goes. What can he do? What can he do? What can he do? Let's see. We'll ride aboard for him right now. If there'll be anything on here, it'll be nothing short of magical. Out comes through the final corner, down for the park, just a bit on for the apex. Is it enough for Alex? And 37, it's still not quick enough. People seems to be struggling a lot for the third sector, or invalidating it. Three minutes over left to go. Josh Hughes goes across the line. Still nothing for himself for the time being. Teammate Cameron Fields behind. Where will he field? And nothing. Just no quite improvements. They all seem to be stagnating in their positions as it stands. With 3 minutes left to go, and it is possible we could be seeing a new fastest. I can't see much improvements indeed. It's there. It's definitely there, but it's not going to be able to be there quick enough, I don't think. Especially for the way that we're seeing... I don't know, just stagnate though. It's so close. Like, there's improvements to be seen for the first and second sectors, but it doesn't. It all just seems to fall on flat through the final sector. Bobzilla doesn't say yippee, yippee to ye too. And Navarro gonna be going out for his lap. He'll have 2 laps under his belt if he wishes. Meanwhile, we'll see on with Watson indeed. He's gonna go for the first sector now. Cameron Fields entered into the pits. Pushing out fourth. There is Hughes. Hughes has got nah, just not quick for the second sector. Doesn't seem to be anything on here. For the line he goes, and yeah, it's pretty unfortunate. Norris has the gear icon, but he's fastest on the first sector. A kick on the gravel that will hinder his time. And Barrett thinks that it might be all set and done. Oh goodness me! Spin in the background. I wonder who that was. Ah, that was Navarro. Navarro with a massive spin. And I think that will be his pursuit of the top 3 done. Still with Norris now. What's it looking here for? Purple on the second sector. Is there anything that he could possibly do? Maybe take away the pole position away from Barrett. That's in the pits. He has got no choice but to watch. The gear icon is coming on. So I'm not quite sure if he's even going to set this or not. Through the final parabolic, through the final corner he goes. Down for the parabolic up. Is there anything here in the dying seconds of qualified? Are we going to see a pole position change here from Norris? Oh no, no we're not. No we're not. 35-1. And that's still just shy of Barrett's time. Watson is approaching down through second sector. I think that will be 12 minutes out left to go. I think Navarro just about has another lap under his belt, I believe. I think he definitely will try to give it for his all. Let's see what Watson can do though, as he's ending through his qualifying session. Personal best in the second sector. If a personal best can go through in the final, he'll be able to push his Ferrari up just a bit further. Out from the parabolic he goes. What can the 51 do here? Through the line. George goes at 37. And it's so close to his teammate. And finally manages to close up the gap but it's still not enough, and he'll just have to start over from 10th. And Navarro, with the timer ticking down, has to retreat down to the pits. So that was cool. That was practice, and what a practice! Qualifying. Qualifying was indeed pretty interesting indeed, and Tian Barrett is the best man with the best view from today's race. Alex Norris will share the first row with him in the BMW in second, and Josh Hughes and Cameron Fields makes it an all Toyota second row in third and fourth. Jordan Navarro in fifth with Enya McGillor in sixth. George Williams and Joshua McCarthy will share row four. The Peugeot seventh and eighth, and Ferdinand Messlinger and George Watson, the two Ferraris here in front of the Tifosi here at Monza, will share the final row of fifth. Close field indeed. And indeed, it could be anyone's guess as to see who will be able to come up from on top. It was indeed an initial surprise whenever we had to see who won last time round. And, of course, anyone's guesses to wonder who will be able to come out from on top. We're going to finally go over to the starting row of today's race. 10 cars here today. Again, double from what we've had back in race 1, which is always great to see. Thank you all to the drivers that have attended thus far here at RPL. And we will slowly get over to the starting order. Indeed, Tian Barrett holds on to the lead. The man was in second place. Very good fin with Alex Norris sharing for the first row. With Josh Hughes, previous race winner, in third, with Cameron Fields in fourth. That was the previous pole sitter. He's got a lot for to do. John Navarro in fifth for the BMW, with the Porsche of Enya McGillor in sixth, followed by George Williams and Joshua McCahey, the two Peugeots through row four. And then finally completing through the rows, it is Ferdinand Messlinger and George Watson. Again, interesting. And we're about to see what an exciting race can bring us here. 70 minutes. Changeable weather conditions. I think it is raining for the first few... Well, it's raining. At least it is wet. But it could be drier a bit over time. Monza indeed known for its wet surfaces. If you date back to 2008 in F1... one of the wettest races in that season. The green flag drops. We're on our way here. Once again here in RPL. And look at this start from Tian Barrett. Has to try and fend off from Alex Norris. Cameron Fields has to field on down behind. Nearly three wide in the back between Hughes, McGill and Navarro down through turn one. And Barrett has to try and go for defensive. Norris almost been pushed out the back. Josh Hughes almost looking for the outside. And it's still going to be going side by side. Josh Hughes and Fields side by side for the background. Navarro and Messlinger also side by side out from turn three. And looking for the back there, George Williams onto the back through on Enya. Breaking hard though, Navarro down to the inside. Is it going to make it work? Messlinger has to take avoiding action, and the Ferrari still holds on to sixth. It's a great start actually from Ferdinand, the man that started in ninth, all the way up through to sixth. And meanwhile, looking down through the background now, you can just see the spray affecting through these drivers. Everyone's gotten through cleanly, and it seems. Approaching through Ascari, there you go, that is Josh almost looking down from the inside onto Enya, but not quite much anything here. Everyone seems to be going for Ascari pretty okay. You can just see with the bit of the mist as it stands. And now up to the front, Barrett a bit under pressure from Norris, hasn't quite able to shake it for away. That's the thing with the slipstream, have to be able to be really careful with it. But in such wet surfaces, trying to maximize your speed out from the exit is what Norris is trying to do. Able to benefit from the slipstream here. Is he too far away to make a move? He might be able to make a move down here for turn 1 if he might do so. Looking for the outside line. Down for turn 1. He's hoping to try and hold it in down for the inside, but not quite close enough. And Tian Barrett goes off. Has to be very careful of such a curb not to underfloor it there. Josh Hughes, bit of a tank slapper out from the exit of 2. It will allow for Cameron Fields to go side by side. These two are going to continue on from their fight. Back at Lusail. Round for the outside. Cameron Fields tries to have a look. Has to funnel in down from behind. There in the background, Jordan Navarro almost looks in and can't quite make the move. Oh my goodness me! My God! And Josh, I think that was too much on the grass, I think, for him. And that's unfortunate. I think it's collected quite a number of drivers out there. That was Navarro. His suspension is crashed, I think. Able to keep it through, I believe, but that's still hugely unfortunate. No GT3 class. Yes, indeed. Tension still draws up to the front now. That has able to push in a bit of pressure. We're looking for a 3-car fight in Fernand and Josh. I'm wondering if Josh might have a bit of damage a bit. I think a lot of people had damage from that massive incident. Could be seen early pitters indeed. I think I did see debris a bit, but Joshua, yeah, coming under pressure from Fernand. I think Fernand will take it very easily. I think we're going to see that first pit indeed. No, we're not. Yeah, he's going to go to the pits. And that's another spin from Jordan. I want to see whether that's happened to him. His rear wing is gone, so that is not very good. And he's pulled the car in for retirement. Our first retirement here in Monza. Meanwhile, Norris manages to pull away from Barrett. It is 2 seconds. I think that might have been a lead change if I'm not mistaken. As we see Hughes, I think, gone a bit off. And Cameron Fields just trying to push onto the pressure to his teammate as he can. Toyota still holds for the 3 and 4. The Barrett and the Porsche still leads. We see Mike Norris might be lap traffic. It could not be entirely for sure. So it's up from the apex. Norris goes, but still holds on a pretty good lead, about 2.3 seconds fastest man on the wets as well. To add to detail, 4.51 his best to Barrett's 47.7. Definitely seems to be a man on a mission now. Josh will exit out for the pit, so I think he will be indeed be lapped. Gaps have spread out already in this time frame. Just the closest one now between Cameron and Josh. 1 seconds between these two on equal pace. Good exit from Josh to push away a bit between himself and Cameron. Just looking through the rest of the field to see how else I'd stand up. Ooh, that one in the background. George, it's a bit much out from the curb, but still keeps on fourth. Man, that's in the podium last time round, all the way down to fifth. Although in such positions, he did go from fifth to third last time round. Could be seen a repeat if the Welshman could do anything to go for his luck. down through Scary George goes. And it still holds up and clips for the time being. Cameron is gaining a bit to Josh, but it's still 1.1 seconds. So, yeah. The question is whether the Kiwi can ever make the move on to the Briton. Briton. From turn 1 that he goes. 4.62 compared to 4.61. Although last lap's indeed about 1/10 the difference. Good exit out from 2. As from Josh Hughes goes. Oh, yellow flag. Verona makes through. On to Josh. He's already lapped. I think there might have been a problem with Ferdinand, if I am not mistaken. Huh. Seems weird. Gently pulling away. Fields is still losing that momentum to Josh. Can't seem to be finding any traction, but he is going to try and gain as much as he possibly can out from the exit. Out from Parabolica, Cameron goes, and he is losing ground 2 seconds indeed. In fact, Josh is catching up to Barrett, the pole sitter, and for the man that lost the lead to Norris, got a bit of trouble down from turn 1. That was a bit sideways for Barrett's liking. That will allow for Hughes to definitely benefit. He had a better traction. Hasn't benefited too much actually. It's 1.2 seconds. Still pushing away. That push has done really good for the acceleration, but I think Hughes does capitalize out from the corners, out from that Toyota. Could provide a pretty good benefit. Was that on the gravel? I'm not quite sure. Oh, we're seeing here. Again through here, side by side between Ferdinand and Josh. Ferdinand holds on down for the inside, looking to try and get 8th away from Josh. Josh swings round through turn 4 and still holds its sticks. Now it's down to 1 second between. Oh, yeah, they're just absolutely giving it their all. Josh Hughes, meanwhile, hoping to make it look to be 2 top 2 race results in a row. Tion Barrett, indeed, the fastest man on track back at Lusail, aside from Hughes and Fields. Got P2 at the end, which is incredibly impressive for the Porsche driver. Currently sitting in P2 for the time being. Still trying to find his gain, but his best 46.2 compared to Josh Hughes is 45.7. Means that he's effectively stuck in no man's land. In fact, even Cameron Fields, the man behind, is also quicker on the fastest lap than Tion is as the time being. Under an hour left to go here. Coming through turn 1 and down for 2. Nothing to quite make yet of Hughes' pursuit. That was Cameron Fields. I think has gone off and hits the polyester boards. I'm wondering if it might be any debris. No debris, so that's all perfectly fine. Ferdinand has indeed lost that gap to Josh. Joshua's climbing up now, up in the field, still a lap down, but at least he's got a free pit stop indeed. But if the track does dry out, then he has to go in for another pit stop though. Meanwhile, Ryan and Ball with Tion Barrett. Very close. Out from the exit, can see down from the spray. 6 seconds between. 6 tenths between Barrett and Hughes. Hughes will have a slipstream though. Down from Parabolic, if he can just keep it down from the inside line, he'll be able to capitalize on this. Out from the exit he goes. Not quite the best of exits out from the Parabolica. In fact, he's lost a lot of time out from that exit. He was 6 tenths, 5 tenths off, and Tian has managed to find an entire half a second coming through there. Ooh, sideways. He has to keep it stable. Keep it stable. He does. And that has cost him all the momentum that he's found back at Parabolica. See in the foreground there, Alex Norris, 5 seconds indeed between himself and Barrett now. Barrett trying to do everything he can to push on forth, but has to worry about Hughes down behind. Hughes is as close to Barrett as he's ever been since the start. Down for the inside of the first, let's mo they go. And Barrett defends and holds it on for the time being. A little bit of a touch from Hughes to try and settle him. Down from second, Lesmo. Good exit from them both. The slipstream able to use his advantage. Might make the move down from Ascari if he wishes. He's going to follow down behind. Not going to utilize it just yet. And hoping to capitalize maybe for the Parabolica or down for turn 1. Of course, being very dangerous. We have seen overtakes work in the Parabolica before, especially over in F1. Although, given the fact that hypercars are a little bit more heavier and a little less stable to control than the F1s, could make it a bit more difficult for Hughes to take that opportunity. Exit out from Parabolica. Barr has always been excellent coming out from the exit, and he's done it once again because it is 5 tenths now between himself and Hughes. That always seems to be his bread and butter in that Porsche. But then loses it a bit for turn 1. If he keeps it clean, he doesn't. Oh, loses it halfway through. Hughes has to slow down because of that. Close to this battle on track. Through turn 3 they go. This is allowed for Alex to get himself a bit of a run. Up to 6.5 seconds. All for the exit they go. And Barrett still holds on for the time being, losing that momentum just a little bit drip by drip. Throughout the rest of the corners, just not as stable as the Toyota is. Through the first last mile they go, and down to the second. Again, just sideways, bit twitchy. More twitchier than what Hughes is doing. Hughes will have the slipstream, maybe make move through the rundown, and another move again. The problem is he needs to make the move down for Parabolica, otherwise it's never really going to stick for him. As they go for Ascari. And Ascari indeed swinging to Barrett's favor. He's just trying to utilize it as much as he possibly can, going through the final corner. I'm looking at through the delta here, pulling away. Actually, it's not pulling away that much, so it seems to be a bit fine for the time being. Hughes 5 thousandths quicker. You can see in the background, you can see Cameron may be able to benefit from this. Oh my goodness me, I think that was Bart nearly losing it for turn 1 once again, but saves it genuinely once again. It's very impressive how often that Bart does seem to save his car. 7.5 seconds is now the gap between Norris and Barrett, so you can see how this is really shaping that lead. Through turn 4 and 5 they both go. Top of the brakes through 6, but a bit more harder than rain. And then again through 7. Swiggles a bit. Oh, See with Hughes. Hughes looks down for the inside almost, but won't budge. Better exit from Hughes. He's now really close. 1/10 behind from Barrett. Gonna swing around, look down for the outside. Out through his scar. This is going to be extremely brave. If he's going to be late on the brakes, it might actually work in Josh Hughes' favor. Is it going to do it? Needs to very trust into Barrett. Barrett holds on through, and there's nothing much that he can do. Bit off from the racing surface, but he's got a better exit out from Ascari, and Parabolica is going to be one of his favorite corners upcoming. Holds on for the outside line, trying to maximize that speed, and if it doesn't work, he'll always have turn one. Through Parabolica he goes, and he's going to try and maybe hug it in. Like, not much grip out on the wet surface, and it's pained him just a bit. He's touched the gravel, and that has allowed for Josh Hughes to run away. 5/10 between Hughes and Barrett, and Hughes up into P2. Breaks hard indeed, but nothing much that he could possibly do. And yeah, he's kind of lost that momentum for now, and it's pushed over to about a second. Notoriously close indeed from Barrett, but nothing much that he can do to funnel up against Hughes. Hughes will have his chance to go up ahead to Norris if it possibly can, although he's not as quick. The best lap we've seen from Norris, 44.44. 144.4, and Josh, the best he could do is 44.9. In fact, we've seen a better lap time from Fields as well, 44.90. So he's about 9 thousandths quicker in his best time than Hughes is. Barrett 45.1, has to maybe worry about Fields behind. 3.7 seconds, although I think he seems to be a bit more stable than the New Zealander for behind for the time being. George Williams holds on to the top 5 still, 8 seconds adrift from Cameron. And Enya McGillor on for 6. We have another retirement. I think we have another retirement. I'm not sure if I recorded that or not. But let's have a look through the replays. Oh my goodness, mate. We did not catch that on 4th. This is coming over from turn 3. Oh. And Smash just loses it. Just can't keep it quite under control. And it's a retirement for himself. I want to see back over to Norris. The lead that we've missed. This was an overtake, I believe, or an overtake attempt coming down. Yeah, we did catch that actually. Lost it too much from Barrett, and that's all happened. We did not miss that, actually. We did catch it. And the final one I went to have a look for was back in Joshua's side of things. Ah, dear. I wonder if it's possible. Yeah. I can understand that, but yeah. It was trying the best not to lock up, and yeah. It's that's the problem with the wets. You can't really break down on that section, but it just, yeah, it's just it's unfortunate these things do It's unfortunate these things sort of do happen, but I don't think it was on purpose. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It is very, very unfortunate. And then Navarro. I think he just struggled. Navarro struggled just way too much. You could see that I think his suspension was already broken already by that point. It was completely broken. Nearly 45 degrees bent. And on the wets, it struggles so much. Yeah. So only 2 retirements thus far, though, in a rain-infected race. 45 minutes left to go. Norris still holds on quite ahead. Pretty good, pretty impressive indeed from him across from the field. 8 seconds is the gap between himself and Hughes. 2.2 gap to the rest. And we'll have a look over through positions gained. Barrett lost over from the pole position. Norris and Hughes both made their gains. Fields and McGill are the only ones that remain stagnant. Alp Williams, biggest gainer today, having started over from 7th ahead of Josh. Good recovery indeed from George, looking to go even further. Messenger continues on through to take full advantage of the carnage up ahead. Again, Navarro, Watson, the only retirements. Looking over through the virtual energy with 45 minutes left to go. Josh, having been in the box, the first one to go to the pits, obviously the one with the most virtual energy, so you'll expect him to be probably one of the last ones to come over to the pits. At least we'll have that energy to disperse throughout this stint if he so wishes. We're seeing the track slowly starting to dry out, I believe, so we could be seeing people move on to a drier compound. Of course, there's the tire indeed. Everyone indeed on the wets. So, yeah, track indeed drying out. 45 minutes left to go. Rise up 30 degrees. So it will dry out fairly quickly. Should be seeing the sunshine rather than a heavy forecast. So that will provide a bit of benefit to... It'll provide benefit to the people that really want to switch onto the dries as they possibly can. I think the early signs of drying, people will immediately go into the pits, I'd reckon. Seconds indeed. 2.8 indeed. He's going to be the first one through going into the pits. He's not going in now. He'll probably go in for the next stint. Anyone calling their luck to see if they want in now? Ferdinand retires. And that was a drive-through. Oh my word. Okay. This is unfortunate. Let's have a look for the replay to see what has happened to him. This was only just a couple of laps ago, I swear. Okay. It looked to be. It says here he has a drive-through penalty, but I don't know from. I don't know if it was from speed in the pit lane or not. Because he has the penalty up there on the board, so that's very, very weird. Field is just praying out for the time being. Only approaching down through 40 minutes, so we've already gone through nearly 30 minutes of high octane action in this range. Again, everyone on the Oates. See the field trying to stagnate just a bit. Norris holds on down, nearly approaching 10 seconds away from Hughes, and Hughes himself pushing away from Barrett now. Very close to push up to 5 seconds. Then it's nearly 3.8 seconds from Barrett to Hughes. Closest one on track. Thought Fields might be able to catch up, but a bit unstable in the Toyota just means that the best he could probably do is fourth. 12 seconds from Fields to Alp Williams. The McGillard, 6th of Porsche, on board with him now. Joshua, the one of the few. The only car now left lapped. Both Ferraris retired, and the BMWs are retired. Ken Carfield becomes 7. We've now improved our record indeed, actually, compared to back in Qatar for the most recorded retirements at a RPL Le Mans race, which is a very fun statistic. If you know any other very fun statistics about this race, please drop over in the chat below. I will happily read them as the race progresses on through. We're approaching through our first pit stop window. We have our first pit stop in Alp Williams. Into the pits he goes, switching over to the dry compound. I must imagine, I think it might still be wet. It is drying off a bit, I can see from my screen. But it's still close to see whether whatever he could do. It's going to be quite a slow stop, but I imagine it must be because of the small pits. But let's see if anyone else will be able to respond to that. Oh my goodness me, Cameron Fields is on through the gravel. Can he keep it on? Yes, he can. Loses it though, and that's not a very good thing to witness. Keeps it through on track for the time being. He'll be exited out for the pits. Is he on the dries? I wonder. He is. First one out on the mediums. Looking forward to continue on that to the end. He has to be pretty careful. I'm going to ride on board with him and see how it goes for him. Want to see if this change in compound might benefit for him. Usually one of the first ones to call in for a pit stop benefits George massively. He seems to have a knack for making very good pit stops. Arguably probably one of the best in the field. Through turn 7 and 8 he goes. You can just see the reflection on it. It is too early for George. Way too early. And he's stuck. Needs to be more careful, but can still make use of it. Has to make way through for... That was Hughes behind, ahead, I think. Of course, the others one. Yeah, careful for the curb. The curb carries up for a lot of watery surface. Breaking down for Ascari he goes. Nest the throttle just a bit. There is a dry line through that could be used for his advantage. You can see the sun starting to shine just a bit. 37 minutes to go. You can see it there. The bit of cloud starting to form. The cloud cover can influence how quick the anticipation occurs. Don't see anyone else going through to the pits though. So both Porsches lap down now. Closest battle still Barrett and Hughes. Cameron Fields lost the momentum to try to catch up to Barrett after his mishap from Lesmo. And it seems to be on a race on their own. Holding the 5th, George 6th, and Joshua McCarthy 7th. Because McCarthy having to fix damage to his car, being a lap down, nearly 30 seconds to his teammate in George. Even after a spin. At the exit, Lesmo George goes. If you're going to set a faster representative lap time, now will be the time to do so. If he can set a best lap, might be the calling for everyone else to pit. He's not lapping quicker though. He's about 2/10 off from Barrett's race pace. So I don't think the time is right for the time being. Just being early means I get to benefit from it, although this flat spot means otherwise. Oh, Barrett goes into the pits now. He's the first of the podium runners to enter in, but surely with how George is racing, is it too early? Let's see, for the first sector, George goes though, as we await for Barrett to exit from the pits. Sector 1, Axelrod did 33.1. What can George do here? Josh does 33.6. And George only does the 33.9. So he's about 8/10 off from Norris. I think it might be too much of an early call. We'll see how Barrett himself gets along. A long pit stop. But of course, mixes up pretty well. No damage to that Porsche. Is kept it clean throughout very challenging, difficult positions. So everyone else going to follow suit from behind. Norris is going to enter into the pit. So everyone is having that call to go into the pits. Hughes is coming in. Cameron isn't going in. Barrett will exit out. And Norris goes in through to the box. The Barrett's not up to temperature, but we can see through the second sector from what he produces what he can do. He's being very careful through it. The dry line's there, but you have to be really precise with your steering here. Second corner through, and the second sector he goes. And what can be put up on the board? $35.6. That's... I don't know if that's fast or not. It's on pace. It's on wet tire pace. We'll have to see how it develops. Alex Norris, race leader, provisionally exits out in fourth. And he's got a lot to worry about as well. 14 seconds between himself and Barrett. So I think Barrett lost that time. Look at that, not getting up into temperature. Having to use the excess runoff to rejoin back in. Won't worry too much. 13 seconds though. Still, I think he actually gained time having to pit late. So pit late might actually be the name of the game here. Hughes again requests a pit stop. So he stayed out, but he might go in through this time. And he does so. Fields down behind. Is he going to do the same? Or is he going to stay out? If he stays out, he might be the driver that will benefit the most from this. Yeah, Norris is struggling as well. He's 2/10 slower than Hughes on the wets. Cameron goes into the pits. So everyone is not leaving it late. Which is, I think it must be has to do with the fuel. And yeah, the only one left to go in if he is going to go so. Now will be the time to do so. And he will. So everyone has made their scheduled stops. George actually, I don't think he has done good to pit early here. So of course you got that spin to take in through to account. Alex Norris takes up ahead. George Hughes and Cameron Fields, from the benefit of going on right to the very end, theoretically, have gained positions. And there's Barrett. Barrett, that was in P2, has lost it to the Toyotas. Oh my goodness me. Smoke on the brakes from Fields and lets Barrett through. And they're going to be going side by side here in the sunshine here at Monza. The thing with Fields is that Fields' tires are not up to temperature. So he has to be very cautious with them. Alex Norris is starting to come to grips with it. Finally, at least 327. But that gap decreased by 7 seconds. By about, not 7 seconds. Actually, around about 7 seconds for himself to second place. But Josh Hughes, takes the biggest advantage from this, I think. Because the gap has pushed off a bit even further. Almost 10 seconds now. From what used to be about 3 seconds between Hughes and Barrett. It's now pushed off further. And the fact that Fields almost managed to benefit from this too means that, you know, it's not completely out of harm's way to see if Barrett will keep hold of that podium for the time being. I think Josh has just made his second pit stop, I believe. Yeah, he does so. That's everyone making their pit stops now with now under 30 minutes left to go here at this race. This is battle track now, Fields and Barrett. Fields has a lot of work to... He's entering into the pits again. Did he not change the compound? That's weird. He's into the pits again. He's going for a second pit stop. And that seems bizarre. And he X's out. He's lost a lot of time from that. And he will lose the position, I think. Maybe? Yeah, he does so. There's George. George, to benefit from this, up into 4th. From another pit stop from Cameron. Cameron is not actually that quick. Actually, it's yet to set a time on the wets, rather. 43.9 to George's 42.6. So it's possible. So looking up for Barrett, 3.3 to Hughes. Fields, 2.5 to George. And yet didn't stay out for long enough, I think, to benefit massively from it. But this is really starting to become dry weather, I think. So it could be just... possibly, I don't know much about for endurance racing. Getting clean at least through the rest of the race. Not seen any more retirements since more than 10 laps ago. Out from the sky, George goes. You can see Josh up ahead. He actually for his teammate as well. Is Cameron gaining? Final corner, George goes. Good on exit. Good on exit. Good. 32.9, 34.9. And that's a new best for George of 141.42. As Cameron invalidated his, so he will be hoping to set a representative one here right now. Out from turn 1. Cam still holds. He is gaining, but I'm not quite sure how much. The first sector, George was 33.4, Cameron was 32.9, which is almost 5/10. It's almost 9/10 here from the timing screens. Josh is catching up to Alex. Under 10 seconds now for 25 minutes left to go. I wonder if you'll be able to keep hold of that. And needs to maybe make about a second faster than Norris per minute, or a minute and a half if he wants to try and gain. Out from the exit though. Across the board. There we go. Representative lap time for Cameron, and he's nearly a tire second faster than George. See there on your timing screens as well, over to your left. Enya Miginola, despite being the last to go to the pits, holds maximum energy, 78%. Norris has a pretty high of a gap for 23 minutes. He's got 63% to utilize. Hughes 55, we'll expect him to conserve maybe, whilst Barrett and Alp Williams effectively in the same strategy. Fields having to catch up quite a bit to Alp, is about 1% of a deficit. I think we expect these drivers to end for the races on 20 or 10% charge on fuel, on charge on virtual energy. Over from as Sky goes, it's now coming down to just about under a second. And again, Cameron 3/10 quicker than George. A fight we have seen before at Lusail. And it will continue on forth in full swing here today. And look at that, gained about 7 tenths now, 4 across the line. How quick is that lap now? Last lap time, 8 tenths faster from Cameron once again. He's really given his all. So much later on the brakes, actually. It might be actually going too deep. We'll see. On board with George now. And again, Cameron 8 tenths faster on his best lap than George has. Nearly an entire second, actually. And the fact, catching up to Josh. What's enough for the time being? Smoke from George. Feels the pressure from behind. Just needs to keep us cool. On board with a now. No, catching up, but it's not quite there. Oh, from the exit. Can see there with Cameron. Utilize as much as he possibly can. Off from the back. Seizing the slipstream. Dying moments here. Could be the last overtake we see here. George holds on for the midline of the Parabolica. Cameron swings around for the outside. Here we go. Down for the move. Cameron looks. Get his side by side over through turn 1. The speed advantage that Cameron has could be enough to facilitate 4th place here. But George looks up, holds up through. Bit of a collision. Cameron has to take through the advantage out from the racing surface. And George, having that bit of a luck up, gave Cameron no choice but to take evasive action. He will give the place back though. And sticks down from behind for the time being. Looks down from behind, coming through the curb. Massive curb actually. There from Cameron. Still holds on through the 4th. George does. Here we go. Out from the exit of Lesmo. Through the straight. Again, Cameron be able to utilize the slipstream through to his advantage. Down through Ascari. Applying the pressure. Not much here. Slipstream through his way. Going to be going side by side once again. Almost making contact. Rubbing wheels. Banging cars. Go inside. They're banging wheels actually. Through Parabolica they both go. And George still holds on through to 4th place, but only by his fingertips. Slipstream again. More speed. An advantage for Cameron. Side by side. Once again, it's going to be a repeat of what we see from the previous lap. On for the rear axle to the front axle. Cameron will able to go side by side and have enough. But George has to be laying the brakes again. Another bit of smoke exiting out from George's one. And look at this. Cameron's looking for the switchback. Doesn't quite work. George still holds on to 4th. Incredible race that we're seeing between these two drivers. Oh, look at this. Almost down for the inside, but not quite. Smoke. But, nothing there. Meh. Oh, looks on through. Down for Lesmo. Not quite. And watch this. Almost looking over through inside. Nope. Not quite yet. Just needs to be patient. Able to capitalize whenever he wants to capitalize. But the flashing lights going on now. Sun really is starting to shine now here at Monza. Look at this. Oh, for the inside. Coming through. Scarring doesn't thinks better of it. Under 20 minutes left to go here. Closest battle on track that we have thus far. George a bit twitchy on the exit. Will Cameron able to capitalize? You can see the gap down at the bottom. Gaining in favor for Cameron. Cameron will look for the inside. George squeezes him around, swings right through the outside of Parabolica. That is absolutely brave from Cameron. Will it work? It does not work. He has to take outside from the racing surface and unfortunately loses it by about 5/10. Wow. Are down through turn 1. George goes. Oh, and he doesn't quite have the best of exits. Collision between Fields and Williams. Has that affected his bumper anyways? I'm not quite sure. Exit from 2. Speeding out flat out for 3. The exit there. Looks over through the outside line. Maybe for the inside line if he can. Does so happens. That is Cameron gone too deep. And loses out way too much. And will rejoin, but 1.5 seconds. He'll have a chance to go for again if his tires aren't cooked. But that is quite a travesty. And we'll have a look through the replay on Cameron's side. Oh my goodness me. That was very, very close. Yeah, I can see that I'll be very close for comfort indeed. Using that energy. Still sticks down behind. 50 minutes to go here from this race. Incredible 70 minutes. What we were expecting here at Monza is starting to deliver. One of the last gas battles that we're going to see on track. George and Cameron. Watch this on the exit from Ascari. George holds on to the inside line for the Parabolica. Cameron is going to hope to swing it around through. Is it going to work like we've seen through last time? Out from the Parabolica they go. Collision again. And Cameron. Oh my goodness me. That was very, very sideways. And the collision between George and Cameron. Cameron comes off worst of it onto the gravel. And we'll have to try again. 1 second away from George to Cameron. That might have been maybe a bit too close for comfort. It's very difficult to overtake through Parabolica. Has to just come through behind. Out from the exit. Under 50 minutes left to go. As we mentioned before, closest battle on track between Cameron and George. Barrett still stagnates at 3.2 seconds between himself and Hughes. Norris has gained to 12 seconds compared to the 10 that we've seen previously. And then after that, it's nearly 65 seconds between George and Cameron. In fact, these two have been battling along for so well to be backed by over a minute. Quite impressive. Quite impressive. And yeah, down from behind. Faster in best laps than Cameron and George, both up ahead. Problem is that 9 seconds, not much that they can really do. 13 minutes left to go. Possible if they can maybe gain about a second a lap every single time. That's a pretty hard ask for the Porsche driver. Although, we'll be able to pick up for the pieces, maybe. You can see there the damage on the Toyota's side. Out from Parabolica they go. He's going to make the move for, once again, much more speed in Cameron's favour. Oh, a bit of a squeeze from George. And look at this, side by side. And look at this. Will Cameron be able to retaliate a bit? He does, just a little bit. Holds up for the outside line. This can only end in travesty. Nearly onto the grass. He's going to look down for the inside line as much as he possibly can. Too much on the grass. Too much on the grass. And Cameron is off as well with George. And they both need to take over through the excess road. I wonder if Cameron had the better speed of us. Swings right for the outside down for turn 3. Is it going to work? He is not. He's going to use for the slipstream down from George. Looks over down for the inside down for turn 3. Nothing much George can do. Almost gives it for the car's like almost gives me. Happens for again. Cameron has to go through out from the and takes over through the rejoin lane. And 1 second separates between George and Cameron once again. Goodness me, that could have. I mean, it did end in a collision a bit in turn 1, but that could have ended way worse than possible. They're really not pleased. I don't know how to explain this race that I'm watching here, but Cameron needs to do something pretty dire if he wants to try and get 4th away from George's hands, especially since 4th was almost effectively his right up until the pit stops, and then he had to make a second pit stop, and now he's under this pressure. 11 minutes left to go. Through Parabolic he goes. He's just finding that gap once again. George now has to do some defending. What will he do? He holds on for the inside line. Cameron not far enough back to make any advantage down from it yet. Gonna use the slipstream though. Will try. George holds on for the outside line. Cameron too deep through turn 1. I was not expecting George to actually go for the outside down for turn 1 since he's going to go for that. But George will happily take that place back after Cameron has made a mistake. From turn 3 they go. And again, it's what we've seen through before. 2 times Cameron has gone out to take the exit route. And it won't happen this time around. He plays it safe this time. Can't fathom to look for the outside if you're going to get squeezed onto the grass. Then you're losing your braking potential by touching that green surface. Indeed, that's what Cameron has done, I think, for the 2 times that he's been on there. Either was squeezed off or just a bit too eager. 10 minutes left to go. The night is starting to fade in just a bit. Smoke up from George. 8 tenths now between himself and Cameron once again. Any possibilities we can see here? Again, George has actually gotten the fastest lap this time around. 39.1 to Cameron Field's 39.6. And being one of the best of the board. Alex Norris 37.002. And Josh Hughes 37.48 with Tion Barrett 36.9. So 36.9 time to beat. Can't replicate it though much to compare it to beat up to Hughes. Fight up ahead. Look at this. George for the inside line. Weaves back round. Back to the racing line before the braking zone on turn 1. I think that was before the braking zone. Cameron Fields has a drive-through? He has a drive-through. One of that might be track limits. I am not entirely sure from that. Braking from turn 4. The limit is on there, so doesn't quite. I don't quite understand. From the first last mode they go, down for the second. I don't understand. I'm not quite sure how we managed to get through that, to be honest. Second last moment he goes for the slipstream, leads it to the back of George. Will he be able to make a move? Let's have a look and see. George goes defensive. He's going to use for the outside line for the Scary. Is Cameron going to be able to retaliate? No, he won't. He's just going to stick down behind for the time being. 8 minutes left to go. Still don't understand how he's able to use it. Look at this. Extra speed for Cameron. And side by side through they go. Once again. and will make the move down before Parabolica. Is Judge able to have a look down through? No, he's not. Bit of a luck up there from Cameron. And he'll hold on to fourth. Actually, no, a bit too wide, actually. Will allow for George to be able to make for the move into the pits. Cameron goes, and I think it will deserve a stop and go, I believe. It is a driver, actually. He'll exit out through and that's unfortunate for Cameron. But 9 minutes to suffer from that. I don't know what has happened to him to warrant that, but maybe we'll see later. But this battle between George and Josh has allowed for Anya to make a gain. 4 seconds. It's just not enough. But that's literally the closest battle that we have now for the time being. And he sets the fourth fastest lap of the field today. Again, fastest held by this man in Hughes. 6 minutes and 30 left to go. Up from the curb. Keeps hold of it. And it's still looking good for now. Alex Norris will be taking his first win here in LMU. Josh Hughes will rack up a very impressive career for him. The winner back in Lusail, he'll become P2 and will hold to his championship lead in LMU. And Tion Barrett will comfortably hold on to second. I think Alex Norris, his first win. George, don't think he can do really one better. Lock up from him. Might have to worry about the car behind. But we'll see. Still holding on out for the time being, so it's okay. It looks to be from him. 5 minutes left to go. A little bit on the gravel though. We saw in the background from Anya. See with the brakes are glowing, just really utilizing through to their max through that time frame. The under 5 minutes left. And once gets us to see. Potentially may come up through on top. Anya is losing ground to Alp Williams, so I don't think we might see a battle muster between these two, at least for today. At least for today. Nearly 12 seconds adrift between first, second, and third for the time being. Did he go slow through the final sector, I wonder? That looked slow. No, it's not. It's still holds on down for 12 seconds. That was just a bit of a timing mishap. Hold on for 3 seconds. As well with him. Under 4 minutes now. We've got maybe about 3 laps to go, I'd reckon. I'll see when the leader will cross the line. Of course, previously, Josh Hughes tried to make it quicker, but might have underestimated a bit. There's Cameron Fields onto the foreground, who's going to lap his teammate. Cameron, having DNF'd previously, will at least be extremely happy to get his first points on through the board. Same with Joshua, I believe. A little bit of a wiggle there from Hughes. And there we go. 3 minutes left. The only one that has not appeared from this race compared to race 1, or made an appearance in race 1, but did not make an appearance here in race 2, is only just Jay Japuja. And he was our second retirement that day. So we'll see if he'll be able to get through his first points. Jordan Navarro looked very strong, but fortunately he'll have to wait. Same with Watson and company. Like Miss Nigger. 2 minutes left to go. Closest gap, what we would keep monitoring, up Williamson. McGlory is not going to come to fruition. 3 seconds with 2 minutes left to go. And George has actually managed to set fast lap times now. Very, very comfortable of a lead Norris had. And really just took it away from Barrett, right down from turn 1. And that was literally all she wrote. Because Barrett going deep down for turn 1, allowed for Alex Norris to take the lead through 90 seconds left to go. We are going to see another lap. From the exit. They come over through the Parabolica. That gap is now reduced down to 2.8 seconds between Enya and George. So it's reduced down to under 3 seconds. But I think it is not enough. Out from the exit though, they both go 2.7. Doubt it'll be enough. He'll be able to navigate through these last series of corners and hopefully will take a good position in the championship for George. Of course, we also have ballast, success ballasts added as well upon each race. So it'll be a lot harder for Norris, Hughes and Barrett, the podium series, to repeat their feats here today. Whenever a ballast is applied. Going down to 20 seconds now. George is pulling away. 15, 14, 13, 12. And now we're going down for 10. Actually, I think Enya might have another go, maybe. We'll maybe have to say the timer is done. And that's going to be it. What can we say about Alex Norris? The man that completely ran away from the field. And would be really, really happy with this. Oh my goodness me! Oh my goodness me! No, never mind! Never mind, never mind, never mind! What? What? I cannot believe it! In the last dying moments of the race, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Josh Hughes wins once again! Here at Monza. Alex Norris, in the final corner, loses the lead. And he also lost a lot of time as well, because... What? I cannot believe it. Tion Barrett will go in third. And the attention towards the back now. Enya has done everything they possibly can to catch up to George, but that's the best they can do to catch up. 2.1 seconds cuff up in the grass from George. It's now under 2 seconds, but it's not enough. Through the final corner, George goes, and surely in un-Alex Norris fashion, he will go through the final corner to take fourth. and will hold on to third in the championship, I believe. Cameron Fields will be the last one to go across the line, and disappointing for him with his situation to finish in the way that he did. Okay, I just want to see if it's possible to see what happened to Norris. Yeah, I know about that, but I want to see because again oh my god, what? So this is coming out from Ascari. Does he just touch a little foot on the brakes? Ah, lock up. It was such a drastic lock up, and he lost his rear wing. But the fact that he was like still far ahead, that was Cameron. And then without that rear wing, and he completely loses it through once again, down to the wall, and that's it. At least we can go through the mid-season results, though. Josh Hughes takes the lead after a very dramatic last-lap incident with Alex Norris after 2 incidents in the Ascari and from the Parabolica, was almost leading from start almost until the very end, and that is unfortunately not going to be the case for himself. Falling through, Tion Barrett will complete through in third place. Very good. That's his second podium thus far in the season. And Josh Hughes will also make it his second race win in a row in the Toyota. George Williams cannot replicate his previous results, but that's the best effort he can do up into fourth. Very good for him, especially with his fights up with Cameron and Enya having to be aware of. Enya would be pretty impressive with a 5th place for them. Cameron Fields pretty good up front into top 4, but unfortunately a driver penalty means that the best that the Kiwi can do is 6th. Joshua McCahey in 7th, having to be a lap down with the damage that he has sustained in that massive collision through turn 3. Ferdinand Messenanger, George Watson and Jordan Navarro are your retirements, both from separate incidents respectively. An incredible race that we've seen here at Monza. And indeed, probably one of the most hectic endurance races that I have probably witnessed, especially in that 70-minute bracket. We will continue on 4th here with more Le Mans Ultimate Series on 4th as we head over to round 3, which will take place in about 7 days' time. Same time, same place, over at Imola. And of course, we've got our RPL Formula 1 Tier 3, Tier 2, Tier 1 will still continue on through onto the respective calendars as per usual. Thank you very much to all of you for watching. Thank you very much to all the drivers that have attended. I've been Aamir. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.